President Cyril Ramaphosa reshuffled the cabinet on Tuesday night, making changes to 4 government departments. The former Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development, Thembi Nkadimeng, is now Minister of Human Settlements, with her, while her predecessor and former minister in this portfolio, Mmamoloko Kubayi, is now replaced by Nkadimeng as the Justice Minister. A former Deputy Minister of Labour and Employment, Phumzile Mgcina, is now the Deputy Minister of Mineral and Petroleum Resources, and the former Deputy Minister in the portfolio replaces Mgcina as the Labour Minister. Political analyst Sandile Swana now joins us to have this conversation on the President's decision. Sandile, very good morning to you. Thank you so much for making time for us this morning. What do you read into the President's decision? I see that Daily, the Business Day this morning, in their coverage of this particular story, the opening line is that the President bow under pressure. Is that how you see it as well?
Yes, the President has recognized the pressure, which comes largely from the DA and big business and generally what you might call the political right wing in South Africa. And the pressure itself is deeper than this, because these people want access to the records of the state capture. And then you will be aware that they've moved certain people into the NPA. So once they get certain detailed records from there, which they have not been able to get under Nkadimeng, they think they'll do that, but I think they are mistaken.
Yeah, because that's the thing. If the intention is to actually get access to those records, is the perceptions of those individuals that under Mmamoloko Kubayi they'll be able to get access to those records? But then on the other end as well, how much of a role does that particular aspect play in the President's mind when taking that decision around the cabinet reshuffle?
Yeah, so Cyril Ramaphosa's perspective is to preserve ANC unity. Now, with this decision, he has got to contend with 2 issues that are threatening many members, senior members of the ANC. On the one hand is the VBS scandal. Nkadimeng is not the only senior ANC leader implicated in the VBS scandal. And if our law was being properly enforced, you would discover that the ANC as an organization is implicated in that scandal, and many senior members across several provinces who are leading in the municipal sector are heavily implicated. Nkadimeng is just one of them. So Cyril Ramaphosa has got to also keep an eye on that he's not putting his comrades under the bus. The other group that he has got to protect is the state capture group. So he's balancing that act from an ANC perspective. This is not for the advantage of the citizens, what he's doing there. He's doing it for the ANC and his comrades.
And here's the other thing. Sunday World had reported that after Thembi Nkadimeng had appeared before the Integrity Commission of the ANC, that during that inquiry by the ANC's Integrity Commission, that she had said that the President was informed back in 2021 when he wanted to appoint as a deputy minister about what had happened with this particular deal with Gundo Wealth Investment. Later on, there was a statement on that particular day as well that was issued by the minister to say, actually, Sunday World was wrong in the reportage about the President being informed. But then Sunday World said that they had recordings of that meeting, the Integrity Commission's meeting, where Simelane had actually said that the President was informed, including the former chairperson of the province, Stan Mathabata, about what had taken place. What do we then, as ordinary citizens, read into this?
Well, the first thing, Aldrin, that all of us have to accept as citizens is that we are living under an ANC regime. So that's that. There is a so-called GNU. In certain aspects of this, certainly the criminal aspects of matters, the ANC will pull all stops to protect itself. People in the ANC who occupy senior positions do not always necessarily steal money for personal benefits. It is when you take a senior position in the state, as a mayor or any other senior position, you are expected to extract funds from the tender system of the state and other sources to fund branches, to fund regions, to fund the provincial structures, and also to fund the lifestyle of comrades. So those things may be discussed, and you can report to your president, such as Ramaphosa, and say, no, comrade, this is within what we normally do. And he knows what normally gets done. This was not a criminal activity. It was what we normally do. Although from a citizen's perspective, it is thoroughly criminal what they are doing.
Yeah. The Daily Maverick, as well as News 24 yesterday, also reporting once again on the lavish lifestyle of Minister Simelane. They're reporting about this lavish lifestyle even during her tenure as the mayor of Polokwane. Is the DA right in arguing that if Simelane is compromised, you can't have that compromised individual still serving in cabinet? So a reshuffle is not enough to show that you're holding somebody accountable?
The DA needs to be sincere to the public and say, from a DA's perspective, on the VBS scandal, this is the list of people they are chasing. On the Phala scandal, this is what they want to do, as opposed to having cut a deal with big business and advertising even in Western countries that their job is to protect Ramaphosa from the logical and natural consequences of his reckless actions at Phala. And then on the state capture side, this is the list. And then there are many other scandals like Nkadimeng and so on. To target Nkadimeng alone, knowing that, as Bathabile Dlamini correctly pointed out, that the members of the NEC, all of them, according to Bathabile Dlamini, have skeletons in the cabinet, in their cupboards. So these are just skeletons that are in the cupboard. As Zizikodwa has shown us what happens with these skeletons in the cupboard. So we can't get too carried away about this.
Speaking about state capture, again, because we don't have the rationale, we don't know why the president has taken this decision, at least officially, why he has taken this particular decision. It is all based on assumption and some of the reportage that we've seen. But on state capture, if the argument is that this is the president taking action against an individual in cabinet who has been implicated, why do you think something similar is not happening to let's say, the Minister of Mineral Resources, Gwede Mantashe? Because with his case, it's a bit different, because there it was actually a commission of inquiry that found that there needs to be further investigations by the police around the allegations surrounding him, as an example.
For instance, this is my problem, that some of these things, and the DA and the people who are involved in this, and obviously as citizens, let me start maybe here. As citizens, for us, it is straightforward. For instance, in the case of Gwede Mantashe, just as a citizen, on ethical grounds, I have enough grounds to say Gwede Mantashe should not have been included in the cabinet, ethical grounds. Now, when you get into the cabinet and you get into ANC processes and structures, then you then discover that actually you've got to go way, way down the right road, as you can see. For instance, the recommendations of Zondo would probably imply that Gwede Mantashe should not have been included in the cabinet, just on the basis of what Zondo is saying, let alone a criminal investigation. But no, that's not what is going to happen. They must now go and dig up the detailed records from the files of the Department of Justice. And in the perspective of the DA, Nkadimeng has been sitting there blocking their access to those records, and so on and so forth. So it becomes a very long story. But morally, we must distinguish between our moral demands and the legal demands. And the DA is caught up in the middle of that and trying to introduce a new standard one way or the other.
Thank you so much for your time, Sandile Swana, there on reflections on the cabinet reshuffle that was announced by President Cyril Ramaphosa last night, where Thembi Nkadimeng now becomes the Human Settlements Minister and Mmamoloko Kubayi becomes the Minister of Justice as well as Constitutional Development.